I want to talk about preparing books for altering. These are two books that I sent through round robin, so they have the work of many artists in them. This book I did fairly early on, and it was not prepared in any way. I just sort of sent it out, and you can see that there's been a lot of altering done in this front section right here. And if you look at the shape of this book and the shape of the spine right here, you can see how misshapen it is. There's a lot of stress on the book right here. And there are some things that I could have done to alleviate that stress and maybe ensure that the altering of the book was a little more even and spread out over more pages. This is sort of dangerous. This is putting a lot of stress on the spine of the book, and the spine can actually break on books, and which causes the book to just break into two separate pieces. You want to try and avoid that. And so there are some things that you can do to make sure that that doesn't happen. This is another book that was a round robin book. And again, the alteration has happened at the front section. There's not very much alteration going on back here. And the book doesn't really close properly. The spine is always at an angle now. So again, even though this book, I did this just a couple years ago, so it was prepared better, it's had about 50% of its pages removed, but really I could have done more. I could have taken out 75% of the pages of this book and preserved maybe a little more of the integrity of the spine. This is the book that I'm going to start working in today, and I want to prepare it for altering. So I'm going to remove pages. Now, the thing to know about removing pages is that you don't want to remove them at the spine, because what happens is if you remove pages from the spine, it weakens the stitching right here, and it weakens the attachment at of the signature to the spine of the book. So what you want to do is get yourself a ruler and leave yourself what's called a stub, which is just a little section of pages. Just a little section that's still attached to the spine. And I usually leave, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch, a little bit. And I do remove 2, leave 2, remove 2 more, leave 2 more, which removes 50% of the pages. Realistically, you can remove 75% if you're a really chunky alterer, and still end up with a book that's a little splayed. And mine is, you know, remove 2, leave 2, but if you want to do leave 4, remove 4, or whatever, that's up to you. But basically all you do is just, you know, count off pages, leave 2, and remove 2. And you want to do the entire book. And just keep going. Take the pages out. These extra pages that I'm pulling out of the book, I'm not going to throw these away. Generally what I do is, if I'm working on the book here at home, I just tuck them in the back. Because if you're going to do, I don't know, a background where you want to extend the text out, If you're going to do fold out pages where you want to extend out this way, any sort of construction that you're going to do in this book, you might find these pages handy. So just put them in a place where you won't lose them, and for me that's stuffing them back here. If you're going to do a niche or some kind of cutout in your book, don't remove pages from the section that you're going to use as a niche. So for me, I'm going to do a big fat niche in the back of this book. So I'm just going to rubber band these pages together to remind me not to remove them as I'm tearing pages out. And that way you get a nice, even, solid block of pages to cut your niche, and you don't end up with more bulk at the spine than you have at the outer edge. This just makes a nicer, prettier block for cutting a niche if you don't remove the pages from it. Here's my book now that I've removed pages from it. And you can see, here's the rubber band where I didn't remove any pages where I'm going to put my niche. But then look at this. It's this thick at the spine, but look how thin it is down here. So I have a lot of room to add things like pockets and folds and stuff like that. And just to give you an idea, this is the stack of pages that I removed. So I ended up removing more than I left behind. There we go. See that? Some places I tore out 3 and left 2. Some places I tore out 4 and left 2. I really removed a lot. And that's because I know that I'm going to add things like fold out pages and pockets and things that add bulk. If you're going to use your book as more of a journal, if you're heavy into paint and not dimensional embellishments, if you tend to work really flat and you're not going to add in extra papers or anything like that, you can get by with reducing less.